Okay. We are entering, Nachshon, one of the more difficult aspects of bitachon. And so we need to read it carefully and we need to pay attention so that we don't get the wrong idea, which is the concept of ishtadlus. Ishtadlus means as the exertion that I have to do. How much of it am I required? What is the relationship of how much effort I have to put in and bitachon? And that's what we're going to get into today. What's wrong, Hillel?
I'm just thinking about how Moshe caused such a disturbance.
First of all, he did not. He did not. By the way, we are going to have a program in Mechina now, the Tzaddik of the month. And for the first month, I think the voting that I saw is putting him at number 1. He's tied with somebody else.
What's the prize, Rabbi?
The prize?
You get your face up.
Prize?
So he's not tied.
Wait a second. Somebody new walked in my classroom.
Whoa.
Hi.
How's it going?
Oh, wait, you sound Australian. So you must be Mr. Shimmy.
Yes.
How you doing? Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see me.
Please do.
All right, welcome. So you should know this year is L'Refuat Eitan Eliyahu ben Rivka Aliza betoch Shah Cholei Israel before we get started. So have you all said hello to Shimmy? No, he's new. You're from Melbourne?
Yeah.
So finally we have somebody that I won't understand even more than the South Africans that I don't understand. So I was explaining there was a new guy in my shiur, and Cab was speaking to me, and I said, I don't know, I just smile at him and nod. I don't know what he's saying. I mean, the guy from Azerbaijan, I understand. Dan from the Philippines, it's clear. Lenny, you got to work on your accent. That Persian accent is always kill. Okie doke. Enough with the jokes. So says the Chovos Halevavos. المقدمة الخامسة أن يصح عنده أن تمام الأمور الحادثة في هذا العالم بعد الخليقة بأمرين. Says the fifth, what? Allahu Akbar. Naam, Allahu Akbar. Wallahi. Yes, it's true. Allahu Akbar. But what do you want to do with that now? Now what do you want to do? So things that come into being in this world are dependent on two things. One is the power of God and the will of God for them to come into being. Okay? So what does that mean? Imagine the world before you were born. It was beautiful. It's before everything was ruined. Not. So there was a world without you, and then for some reason, God decided to bring you into this world, Avi. But it was two things caused this. One, the will of Hashem, and the ability of Hashem to bring into being that which is not existing. Okay? Moshe, you're with me. So now, so that's one aspect. The power and will of Hashem to bring into being different creatures. I was thinking of the word existence, but I didn't like the word existence, so creatures. There are living creatures and non-living creatures. Okay? Like the rock. A rock is something that was created by God. Right? And we're not talking about little pebbles. We're talking like a big boulder.
A rock is not a boulder.
A rock is not a boulder. When you see the rock of Gibraltar, what do you imagine in your mind?
Big rock.
So a rock could be big.
Could be small.
It could be, but it doesn't have to be. Mike, good afternoon. How are you? Good. So that's 1. 2, it's called causes. God works through causal chains. What brought you into this world? Don't be graphic. I don't need a description.
My parents.
Your parents. Good. What happened? he's like, oh, mom, no, mom. But the point is, there were causes that led to your existence. And what caused their existence? That is, in order for you to exist, there had to have been a series of causes that brought your parents and your grandparents and your great-grandparents. That is, there's a long chain of events that has to occur until the perfection of reality exists before us. Hilly. I'm watching the new guy and he's looking at me like, what the heck is going on here? What did I do to myself? It only gets worse, my friend. So there are causes. Some of them are what we call proximate causes or immediate causes, like mom and dad. And some of them are not proximate. They are, right? The ultimate causes of your existence is God creating this universe. Correct? Yeah. Without the creation of the universe, you wouldn't exist. And he says that all of these causes, some of them are known, some of them are hidden. They do exactly what God decrees. But God functions in nature through causes. It's not such a deep idea. You're looking at me like, where's he going with this? Just wait. And he wants to give an example of proximate causes. Proximate cause is a term in Aristotelian philosophy. I'm sure all of you know the theory of 4 causes by Aristotle. And you're not. I thought all Russians know this by heart. You studied Aristotle? What are the 4 causes?
I don't remember.
Listen, you're going to university not for the girls, for information and knowledge.
Yeah, but I can't retain all that information.
I bet you can't. Huh? What? Four causes. What's the problem? It's not that much information. 4 causes. All right. So you guys want to know what the 4 causes are? You don't really need to know them. And so he says, he wants to give an example. And the example is that you have water that are drawn from a well. Do you guys know what a well is?
Yeah.
Yes? What's a well?
It's a hole in the ground.
It's a hole in the ground.
And water comes from above the hole.
Yes, and how do you get the water up?
With the bucket, you said no.
I'm sorry?
With the bucket, you said no.
You throw a bucket in the hole.
With the rope on the bucket.
With a rope on the bucket. And then what? How do you get the water up?
You pull the rope.
You pull the rope.
Yeah.
And the water comes up.
Well, yeah, the bucket versus how you pull it with water and then you pull it up.
And how does the water doesn't spill when you pull the rope?
Hey, Vaughn, so you actually need a what's it called?
You need a whatchamacallit. Oh, so you put this whatchamacallit,
You need
You need something that was invented by the ancient world. A wheel. Oh my God. A wheel. Yes, you need a wheel. And the rope goes on the wheel. And then you have this handle that you, right? And then the water comes up. And then what do you need to do?
Take the bucket off the rope.
Oh, really? So what if somebody else wants to drink?
Kind of pour it into your own bucket.
Yeah, you have to come with your own kli in a vessel to fill. Good. So far, you all have the image of drawing water. This circle thing. This guy's a sharp. Sharp as tax from South Africa. It's like, wow.
Still not clear about the well.
What?
Could you repeat that? Still not clear about the well.
I need to repeat what his svara about how a well works.
Rabbi, they wouldn't know what a well is. Come on.
No, we're gonna ask Hillel to draw us a well with all the parts. So he can do it all. All right, you ready, gentlemen? So he says, the way, are we done now? The way that we draw water from a well is that you have a man who attaches an animal. I don't want to say the type of animal because he's going to get offended again. But he attaches an animal to a pump, right? Which means that the animal is going in circles, which means then it starts to pump, create the pressure in order to draw water from the bottom of the earth, or where the water is, up to bring it to surface level. And so he says the man attaches a behemoth to the pump, and that moves the water from the bottom of the well to the surface. Okay? But from that, until you get the water, there are other causes. This wheel is moving this wheel, and that wheel is sending the bucket down to the water. And that is the water gets pulled up, which means that you have a whole process of causes in order to get the behemoth and the wheels to get the rope down and to bring it. And if there is a problem in the process, so let's just use the methodology of our friend over here saying that you wheel the water, the bucket down with a rope. What happens if the wheel, the handle that you're using to lower it, breaks? Can you get the water back up?
You can if you...
No, right now you're stuck. If the rope tears, you're cooked. You're not cooked. You're without water. It's hard to cook without water. So he says you have to have in this example. You don't like this example? If you don't have all the pieces clicking and working together, like this causes this to occur, this causes that to occur. If you have a break in the chain, you're not going to get the outcome. Which means that there are a series of causes that bring about the existence of David. And God has a plan for David to have children. And he wants them to come into being. Which means David has got to do his part to bring little Azerbaijani kids running around doing this. You know, I don't know, they have these funny dances over there.
Why is funny?
It looks funny to me.
Rabbi,
Student.
you could have David though with a break in the chain though. You just have instead of David, you'd have David the test tube baby.
What? What's that?
Well, if there's no David, there's no test tube.
True.
But let's say you have David and you don't have a test tube in your example at all.
Sure.
That wouldn't work either.
No.
And you could have a test tube But that you still need a womb. Because right now we don't really grow embryos outside of a woman's body. We have to.
Probably be done though, but instead of having
No, you can't. It's not doable yet.
I know. I'm saying you'd probably be like messed up if you tried to do it.
It would not exist. That's a messed up baby. No.
He won't be David. He'll be David.
We could find him a surrogate donkey.
Oh my
Carry him.
God.
Lenny, we are live in front of us. Their women and children might be watching this.
Apologies. Can't believe that Persian guy Lenny would say that.
Yeah.
You just outed yourself.
Oh boy. And so, says the Chovos Halevavos, that if the chain of causes does not occur exactly the way that God commands it, then existence of life on earth would not exist the way it is. That is, we have something that's called causality. And he says, then you have to understand that causality is God's decree. And whatever sibah, whatever cause comes from Hashem, is the process of how God wants to bring about creatures or entities into this world. So we have to understand that part of the way that God acts is through causal chains. Okay?
But also it could be something from nothing, right? It doesn't necessarily.
Could it be something from nothing? Theoretically, the answer is yes. But once the process of creation began, right? So we started from nothing, right, to something. But once that happened, then from that point forward, it's always something from something. That is, even if you believe in the story of the stork, and that your mom told you that somebody knocked on the door and there was a baby, came out of nowhere, right? You should be, at this point, a little skeptical, right? Be like, Mom, it just doesn't happen. Storks don't bring babies. Well, in Canada, they do. Is that what they told you? They told you about the birds and the bees? The reason I'm not speaking, there's people who are coming in and out, and I'm trying to understand why this shiur is like a bus station. You would think that people would be able to A, hold their bladder, 2, survive 25 minutes without drinking or vaping, or it's everything good? Okay. Yes. Now, if we look at the existence of human beings require certain processes of causality. We need food, correct? How is our food derived? I'm not asking you because we saw what happened when we asked you where water comes from. So we're going to have to ask somebody else. Okay, so what is the most common food for human beings to eat? Bread. So in order to get bread, what is the process to get bread? You grow wheat. Is that a process that's automatic?
No.
So tell me how does one grow wheat?
Well, I mean, you gotta find some wild wheat that naturally grows. You gotta cultivate it.
Wait a second. So first, find wheat. If you you don't seem to understand what I'm saying. How do you said we want bread? Well, first we gotta grow wheat. So in order to grow wheat, we have to have wheat. So if you already have the wheat, why do you need to grow the?
If you already have the wheat, then yeah, you have to grow it. Then you have to what's it called?
You have to grow the wheat.
Take it to a grind.
Wait, lat. I'm not that fast. So you have now some kernels of wheat.
Yes.
What do you do with them?
You take them to a grindstone.
I thought you wanted to plant it.
Oh, you're talking about growing now again. Okay, so we're going backwards, Rabbi. All right, so you gotta plant them. water
Wait.
them.
You have to plant them.
Yes.
What's the process of planting?
You gotta till the ground and stick it in. And
You have to till the ground. Meaning, be specific. You have to make a hole in the ground? Is that what you're saying?
you have to make a hole in the ground.
You make a hole in the ground and what do? You put all of them in there or you put one seed in there?
A couple.
2 seeds in one hole.
Sure, or 3.
3. I'm just asking.
Depends on the plant. Have you ever grown plants, Rabbi?
Not that I'm going to admit on the camera.
Gotcha! There we go. No.
Now, the only thing is beans and avocado.
Okay. Yeah, well, when you grow avocado, you only gotta put 1 pit in the ground.
Nachon. Well, first you have to have it. There's a name for it.
A sprout?
Sprout in a glass full of water.
For avocado, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So we're gonna put it in a piece of inland and make a hole, put a few, and then close it. Now what?
You gotta water it.
We have to water it. Why do we have to water it?
You have to water it because you gotta give the seeds nutrients.
There's nutrients in the water? I thought the nutrients are in the ground.
Both. You know, plants need water. Humans need water. Everything needs
Shimi is having a headache. Look at him. He's like, what the hell's going on here?
water.
Just listen.
You water for your plant. You gotta water the plants.
You got to water the plants. Okay, and then what happens to the seed?
Sprouts.
It rots. Correct? The rotting, the outer shell starts to, correct? It rots, starts sprouting, creating little roots, and then it grows.
Yeah, sprouts.
So now you have, let's say, this area full of wheat.
Yep.
Now what?
Now you gotta wait for it to grow. And
You waited to grow, it grew.
it grew. You gotta take the kernels and take it to a grindstone.
Wait a second. Don't you have to cut?
Yeah, you gotta harvest it.
So you harvest the wheat
Yeah,
and you make a pile.
yeah.
Now what?
You gotta sort the kernels out.
You got to get the kernels.
Yeah.
You got the kernels. Now you have, let's say, a bag full. Now what?
You gotta grind them. You gotta take it to a grindstone.
You grind it. You got it. Now what?
Flour then. And then
What?
You gotta sift the flour, make it finer.
And
Then
then,
you add water, yeast, eggs, make bread. You get bread.
where'd you get bread? Where did you get yeast from and where did you get eggs from?
Eggs from your chickens. They-
What chickens? We
We're in Azerbaijan. They have chickens.
yeah, they go to the local makolet. It's like eggs. Here you go.
And the yeast I got from my feet. Okay. There we go. Easy problem solved.
So you think about this. He says that there's a process for food. He says that in order to get the food, there is a chain of causes that have to occur. And then once you have the food in front of you, что ты хочешь? Yes, you've obviously wanted to say something that's very important, so please. You just lost your first place in the Tzaddik Award.
That Bush just got this, right?
Yeah, there was a tie, I said. There was a tie.
I wanted to see if he had anything left. So.
He has anything left. Are you thirsty?
A black on the little
Okay. Now, let's say you baked the bread. You went through the whole entire process. Do you think that if you did not know how to make bread and you were standing in a field of wheat, that you would ever come up with the concept of bread?
No, not naturally.
Maybe if for a long time if I had nothing better to do.
Because what's the first thing that you would try to do? Eat the kernels, and that's going to be disgusting and gross. So what's the next step?
Cook it.
Cook it,
Cook it, cook
burn
it.
it.
Or put it on the fire, right? So that you're going to try to roast it and then eat the grain that way, which is like, okay, but you're not going to really get very full that way. Right? At some point, you're going to have to figure out that you need to grind it to make it into flour. That's a big leap. And even when you have flour, you ever added water to flour? What does that create? Glue.
I like glue.
That's how they used to make glue. Water and flour.
I thought it was horses.
Yeah.
No, water and flour do not produce horses.
Horses were for glue.
That's much later in human history. So let's say you have now the loaf of bread, Jimmy. Now what are you going to do? What?
Eat it.
Eat it. Which means that if you are hungry, in order to get your sustenance, you have to do something. Even if God brings the food to you, to your table, eggs, chicken, roasted chicken with rosemary and olive oil, delicious. Side of potatoes. Just dinner at Ohr Somayach, huh? It's Tuesday. I don't know what you guys are eating on Tuesday. No?
Unseasoned.
Boiled chicken.
Eh?
Boiled chicken.
Boiled chicken. Boiled chicken. Wow. Is that even legal? What else?
I don't know, maybe rice and soup.
Huh? Rice and soup. Excellent. So he says, you have to actually lift it, put it in your mouth, and chew it. If you don't do those steps, you're never going to be satiated. That is the part of the process you have to put in what? Your own effort. You want to win the lottery?
Go buy a ticket.
Oh, here's a good idea. You just need to buy the right one, the winning ticket. And so, what if you're thirsty?
Drink water from your well.
But you have to do something to, even if you had water available, not even in a well, flowing spring. No worms or bugs. You have to fill in a bottle and drink it. You have to do something. That is, we have bitachon in HaKadosh Baruch Hu that He will take care of us. Correct? That He will provide food for us. Because you'll be standing on breakfast tomorrow morning and say, Hashem is going to take care of food for me. Is that how it's going to work? Why not?
You have to put effort.
You have to put effort. Dan! How much time do I have? Okay, carry the one,
16 minutes.
What?
16. 1 6.
Why?
We'll end at I remember we'll end at 3:55.
55 I have to end today?
Yeah.
It helps me when I know how long I have. You know, what I have to do at home, Micha, is to prepare the jokes. And I have to spread them in 7-minute intervals. So that, keep the material fresh. So when he tells me, 18 minutes, throws off, it's not in the 7. I need it in 7-minute intervals. So we might have to go 3 minutes extra. Now you're wondering, why does he get to establish when class is over, right? Because that's Dan. We don't mess with him. Whatever Dan says, we do. Except for shower buddy. There's no such thing as shower buddies in yeshiva, my friend. Sorry, Yitzchak, I have to tell him. And Micha's like, what? There isn't? What was that all about? So, now listen to what he says. Even a kol sheken, if the food is not in front of you, you have to put effort to get the food ready. Right? If you wanted to make bread, you have to grind the grains of wheat. And then you have to make dough. And then you have to bake. Correct? And imagine that you live in a world where you have to buy your own food. If you have to buy your own food, is it easier or harder?
Easier.
It's easier?
Yeah.
It's only easier if you have money.
We all got money.
We all got money? Oh, Mr. Big Spender over here.
Money.
First of all, you should know that not everybody has money. It's an assumption that you made that I think is a bit problematic.
I meant in this room, but that's
No, I meant in this room.
it's not necessarily.
Not everybody here has money to go buy food for whatever they want. No?
True.
I mean, even a falafel costs money. It used to be when I came to Israel, falafel was 5 shekels. Then the price went to 7 shekels. And we were mad. How dare they raise the price to 7 shekels. Now it's like 15, 20 shekels. For falafel?
It's 20, 30, Rabbi, at least. At the bare minimum.
It's 35.
No way. Good. Not great. Yeah, where are you getting here?
Okay, this is not, we're not doing anecdotal stories of getting ripped off in falafel in Israel. Right? But it used to be 5 shekels. I could scrounge up 5 shekels. And I have to talk to my wife and get a loan. But if you needed money, let's say you had to do your own Shabbat and get food for Shabbat, not just for you, for 5 people. What would you get for Shabbat? First, I would get a bucket of water. Okay. Okay, you got the bucket of water. Next.
I'd probably get some fish,
Fish. Okay. What else?
some meat,
Beef, or you consider chicken meat? I thought South Africans, for them, is either cows or lamb, but not chicken. Okay. All right. So you get, you need meat. What else?
maybe some rice,
Rice. Okay.
some veggies, maybe
Like what? What kind of vegetables?
butternut.
Butternut?
Yeah, butternut's fine.
Squash? That's butternut squash.
What? I don't know. I'd get butternut, peas, maybe some corn.
Butternut peas.
Butternut peas.
Butternut,
Comma peas.
peas, common peas, and corn.
First of all, the fact that you said if on Shabbos you want to eat peas, you cannot enter my class ever again. Peas?
This is some veggies. Just get some veggies on the plate.
Butternut squash and peas.
Sounds great.
What the hell's going on? I thought you guys were from Lita. Lithuanian Jews eat potatoes.
I was waiting for him to say potato.
No, it was butterscotch and whatever he said. He never had potatoes on the Shabbos meal?
My house never had potatoes.
Really?
There's no way.
I promise you.
Are you Jewish? I gotta call mom. What is this? Get him some potatoes. Who is that? Okay, fine. What else? That's it?
No dessert.
Dessert. Ooh, let's see. Kick it up a notch. What do you want?
I wanted to get some. Well, in South Africa, we'd get some gelatissimo ice cream.
Okay, but parv.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. All right.
Maybe some sorbet.
Sorbet. Okay.
Fruit.
Okay.
Nah, I think that's,
Zeo.
that's what you
No wine. You notice. No challah. He's not getting that stuff. Yeah, I'm waiting for her. The first thing is Shabbos. We need wine. 2. We need challah.
I thought we were just talking about that.
We're talking about Shabbos.
Challah, wine.
What about herring?
Yes, that's for the day though.
And that's for, you know, the butter. Herring doesn't go with the butternut, you know, and peas. It's like, okay, was that you like your food touching?
What do you mean?
Like the vegetables touching the meat and the sauce of it?
I don't mind.
You don't mind. What about the rice and the peas touching?
I don't mind.
Okay. How much is that going to cost for 4 people?
South Africa?
No, in the real world. South Africa.
Oh, yeah, I would have taken a bunch of things off the list. I would have just been challah and wine.
And a chumma is going, Shabbat Shalom. So let's just say for a Shabbos meal, a standard Shabbos meal is about, let's say 40 to 60 shekels per person. Okay? Let's just say. You have to get that kind of money. And forget that you already have it. But let's say if you didn't have it and you need it, and today is Tuesday, how would you get the money?
You find a job, you work.
You find a job and you work. What kind of job could you do?
Waiter?
You could be a waiter. Okay, good. Sometimes they make good tips. Good. Anybody, what would you do?
Ooh, RT. Computers.
What would you do?
Code.
Code. Oh, really? But they don't need you. They have ChatGPT. They can just put whatever. I need a code for this, and then,
Yeah, but who's going to update ChatGPT, Rabbi?
not you. I thought it self-learns. What's wrong, Dan? You don't like ChatGPT?
I like ChatGPT.
Yeah? Do you use it?
I use it
For what?
for history. And
What about for learning Gemara?
yeah, for like Kiddushin. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
ChatGPT, find me a woman so I can be Mekadesh through GPT.
We'll just make you one.
Yeah. God forbid. I've been using I use 3 of them. And I find that they're lying. Mom is lying through their teeth. So there's ChatGPT, that's one. Then there is Claude. I don't know if you used Claude, you heard of Claude. And now there's something called DeepSeek.
Oh, China.
Oh, China.
Yeah, it's the Chinese government's ChatGPT. You ask
Okay, so the Chinese government is studying Gemara Be'iyun to try to explain a Marsha to me.
Ask him what happened in Tiananmen Square in 1984. It won't give you an answer.
84, he said.
89.
Oh, sure. Dan's got the. 89 or 84?
Yes, 1989.
Maybe that's why I didn't answer. Like, nothing, it was a regular Wednesday. It's hilarious. It's unbelievable. So I asked it one question, and it gave me a Gemara. Okay, it says, the position over there, Rav Shimon says this. So I opened the Gemara, like there's no, when I saw that, I was like, I don't think there's a Gemara like this. And I opened the daf it gave me, and I said, there's no Rav Shimon in here. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Here's another one. And then it says, no, it's Rabbi Eliezer. There's no Rabbi Eliezer either. You're right, it's Nedarim. Okay, I go to Nedarim, there isn't. I went 4 or 5 times. Yeah, you're right. I know I'm right. And then it just said, leave me alone. I'll pick on somebody else. So, I don't know. And then I was asked to give a talk about the relationship between Christianity, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam towards one another. So I had my ideas, and so I said to each of them to write a talk based on this, and I wanted specific sources, and I mentioned what I wanted, put it together, and then it quoted 2 sources. And I said, I've never heard of this source. What is it? Oh, you're right. There isn't this source. You just made up a document that Jews, Christians, and Muslims signed for peace that doesn't exist. Just imagine an undergrad who would put this in a paper and what is this? I said, bring me the document. It put 2 different documents. So the first one was out. But it kept pushing the second one. So I said, bring me the second document. Oh, you're right. Even that doesn't exist. Lie. Computers lie. Yes?
Did you hear about the lawyers who used it in court and completely made up cases and
Yeah.
found out? And
Yeah. It's serious. Anytime when you use it, you have to check. You have to check it. And many times I find that that's not what it says.
You can use AI to see what you have to Google, or you can just Google it in the first place. Either way, you have to Google.
I had a talk on American values versus Jewish values. Okay, it was in English. I needed it in Hebrew, so I just dropped it in there and told it to translate it. Okay, but before I did that, I asked for it to write a lecture on Jewish values and American values, and he wrote something, and it was all sort of kumbaya, hold hands, everything is cool, which is not my style, you know that. So then I had him translate mine, and then I said, now redo it and don't tell me that everything is the same. Show me how it's different. It regurgitated my own words and sent it to me as my lecture. So, but at least it quoted me in the lecture. According to Dr. Garm, I don't know. So you need to earn money, says Chovos Halevavos. You need to earn money. And therefore, if you don't have money, you have to take more and more steps in order to earn the money to get food. Correct? And so you have to either rent yourself, which is waitering is essentially renting yourself, or even coding is renting yourself, or you sell some of your material possessions that people want. Right? Throw a garage sale. Do they have garage sales in South Africa?
we call it a jumbo sale.
A jumbo sale?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have in Canada garage sales, or do they have a different name?
We have garage sales.
It's called garage sales?
It's come take free,
No, come take free is not a garage sale.
We have garage sales.
Yes, good. What about in Australia?
Yeah.
Yep. It's called garage sales, or you have a jumbo sale?
No, garage sale.
So what jumbo are you selling?
Literally just old stuff.
Mm. And so,
Dumbo, like the elephant.
Dan, can you please throw him out? So then he says, the reason that God made it as a requirement for man to toil in Parnasa is for 2 reasons. You have to remember, God made it this way that we have to get money in order to get food. There are 2 reasons for it. And we're not going to get to it today because Chase has a question.
If you weren't toiling in Parnasa, you would be toiling with your crops or your cattle or whatever other.
That's Parnasa. There's no nafkamina.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
But
there's no real difference, other than the fact that one is bartering, one would be bartering, and one would real value.
Cash doesn't have real value?
Medium. It's just a medium. Paper money. It's just a medium. It's a medium of exchange.
I'll take as much medium that you have that you don't want. Bring it over here. And make sure Ulysses says grants on the piece of paper that you're giving me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we'll stop here. I don't want to offend Dan, and we'll continue tomorrow.